maybe it makes sense to talk about a little bit of the technology approach that we used here, because this app runs very well. And that's
Right.
part of what we're doing with these modern apps, is trying to create a transformative experience that is not a NetSuite user interface experience. We love the NetSuite database. We like the business logic element that's part of the database. We use the UI when we can, but we're not in, we have the freedom when we want to create a completely different experience, which is what we knew we needed. Can you talk about what we did here and some of the investments to appreciate, because this is all things that we can give our clients?
Right. Yeah. So like I said earlier on, PTM Planner is built with our Extensible Client Framework, ECF. And so what ECF allows us to do is use third-party components to shape the UI. In this case, the page we're looking at is a Suitelet is rendering an HTML page. And this HTML page was built as a React app. Anyone familiar with that understands that when you build a React components, there's a step that transpiles it into one index of HTML, one big file that then you can render anywhere you want. So technically, PTM Planner can run outside of NetSuite and still hit the NetSuite database. Right now, it's running in NetSuite as a transpiled JavaScript, as a transpiled HTML file. The interesting thing, though, that this allows us to do, I mean, we could build all of this stuff ourselves, no doubt. We can build a component like this, but the value we get is that because we are not bound to NetSuite and the limitations there, we can actually buy a component that gets us there faster. And in this case, that's what we did. We spent quite some time trying to find the right component. We knew we needed some functionality, drag and drop. We needed a calendar view. We needed certain things. So starting with those requirements, we spent some time looking at different tools to see what will bring us closest, and then we could enhance it if needed. And so we found this component. This is a component that is off the shelf, and we're basically using it now as our key component. So that made our development time much shorter, and it also makes us not worry about things we don't really care about. I don't want to spend all my time building UI components, as nice as they are. I want to focus on the business logic, and that's exactly what this allowed us to do. And then next to that, we just added a few controls. These are standard React controls, and there again, you have libraries like Prime React, etc., that you can choose from to just give you rich components that you can use. And then you move your focus from developing these things to actually using them and focusing on the client's business logic and their needs, which often reduces cost and makes us get there faster because we have less to worry about.
So that's awesome. So in essence, by choosing to use React, we deliberately wanted to use what we think is the most popular web-based approach towards software development today. That can change. This is similar to a single page app. We know Oracle is coming out with its single page app approach. It's similar, is it not?
Right. Yeah. I mean, we're actively exploring that. And based on what I know so far, Oracle also is inspired by React. They're actually working off an earlier version of React. So it's not fully compatible where we are now, but it started off with somewhat of approach. And then as the web world kind of lined up behind React, they realized the value of moving in that direction. And so they've pivoted towards that. The beauty of what we're learning here is as our developers are learning React, they're in a much better place to pick up the single page application because the concepts are very similar. And so that's one thing. The second thing is you mentioned that React today is the most popular. That could change. Usually over a few years, these things change. The way we've built ECF is such that we could basically take React out and put something else in, and the rest of the framework will be completely agnostic to that. And so we build it in such a way that we're future facing. If it's not React, if for any reason a client has a strong need to use something else, or we find components that are a different technology like Vue or something Angular, we could get that into ECF and still build apps. And from the client side, same experience, no difference. And so that for us, that was a breakthrough.
We may do this in a different discussion about really what ECF is to give it its due. But in essence, it is a technology on a middleware approach that allows business analysts to describe data in the NetSuite system and relate it together in a way that an analyst can put it together. It has its own UI elements that we built based on, I think it was the box pattern and bootstrap, if I'm not
Bootstrap, right? Yeah.
bootstrap and so forth. And so, yes, we can do that. But we went further and said, look, we need to make sure that layer allows for an abstraction of NetSuite in a particular way. and then we can build with React and so forth and use that to consume the services that it's offering, giving us flexibility. Is that a good way of describing it, or would you qualify it a little differently?
Yeah, no, that's very fair assessment. ECF offers us two key things: the capacity to have non-developers define the data universe and expose that in a way that we can consume it in the app on development side. And then the other thing is it provides a way to bridge into the Net database to perform actions. Because on the client side, when I commit some to the database, NetSuite, I need somehow to get to database to do that. And so ECF offers some tools that allow us to make those calls back into the database and get responses. So those two things together give us the freedom. So I could get a React developer who knows nothing about NetSuite, and they could build an app, and all I just need to do is expose via ECF an API that they can talk to, and it could be anything. It could be NetSuite today, it could be another platform. They're unaware of that.
Very good. Okay. And this is really an illustration of our commitment to be able to help our clients. We do have clients that actually have an IT team who are developers, and we can actually show them, we can put in ECF, we can have other analysts learn how to do this, and we can teach their React developers or others how they can consume this. And they may know nothing about NetSuite, and that's the beauty of it, is we're trying to help clients depending on where they are in their configuration. We can help them completely, 100%, or we can supercharge them and accelerate what they're doing through these models and through these tools and showing things that we're doing. Is there anything else you want to demonstrate or to show?
No, I think this is good. No, I think we've covered the key for. I mean, there are more features here, but I think this covers the essence of what we're trying to do.
And I think the most important thing here is that we were also targeting a high performance experience. So being like you just did, when you drag that element over, it just updated automatically. We can have complete choice over that, but we're trying to optimize for speed and experience. That's the real thing that we're trying to do. Get control, get the speed, just raise the standard of the experiences that we would expect when interacting with NetSuite. Is that fair?
Yes, and get closer to what is expected today as, like the standards, right? Because in a sense, NetSuite needs to catch up, with what people expect when they work with web apps. So this gives us the tools to get closer to that. And as far as the client wants to go, this is already way faster than NetSuite. So a lot of people will see this and say, oh, wow, this is amazing. Someone coming from the web technology world might say, oh, what are you saying? But ultimately, like you said earlier on, it's about finding the right balance and what the client is, what their needs are, and ultimately getting them there. So
totally. And of course, the same thing we could say is if we wanted to build a tablet app or a mobile app, it's fine. We're using all the techniques that we would expect to use in responsive web development in the 21st century here in 2025 are now available.
Right.
Very good. Chitty, thank you for this.
We hope you found these insights helpful. If you're ready to get more out of your NetSuite investment and unlock untapped potential in your business, start your journey with Prolecto. Contact us today.